Hello guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to do a peak week special, seeing as I am on peak week. I am 6 days out from my first show of the season, and then I've got a show the following Sunday after, which is the PCA finals, which I've always qualified for but I've never actually done. So that was my goal this year, to qualify and attend the PCA finals, which I'm extremely excited about. I know that there's a lot of very good competitors in my class that I just want to stand on stage next to and size up against and see where I stand. So I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to run you through how I'm running this first peak week and how it's going to be slightly different to the second peak week, the strategies that we use and why. So when it comes to peaking, and from what I've learned and through the coaches or coach that I've had, it's always been very science-based and data-based, never any bro science kind of stuff, which is a lot more predictable, it's a lot more safe, and it works. So what is peak week? Peak week is not a transformation week. All the work should have been done way prior to that. Come peak week, fat loss should be done, and you should have reduced output in terms of dropping fatigue, dropping inflammation. And it's about bringing the physique to stage nice and fresh with as little fatigue as possible. The main goal of peak week is to freshen up the physique, bring in a nice level of fullness. So you want to be filling that muscle full of glycogen, water, sodium, triglyceride, and sharpness and condition. So you don't want to overfill it to the point where you spill and then you've got subcutaneous water. So it's about finding that right balance and bringing that best package on stage. So peak week should really just be an extension of your prep, not like some sort of magical recipe at the end. It's just fine tuning things to bring in that physique back to life and presenting it the best on stage that you possibly can. The look itself has been done weeks and months prior to you stepping on stage or stepping into peak week in terms of fat loss. So it's really just a case of refining that sharpness. Common mistakes that I see a lot of people make is they make way too many changes in peak week, and then you create unpredictability and then you can't undo them. For example, pulling all water out close to show rather than keeping it standardized, or carb loading too hard, too close to show, to the point where they then don't have time to get that subcutaneous water out. Another one is guessing sodium manipulation. So I track my salt all the way through prep. It's 2 grams per meal, 2 grams in my intra. So it's 14 grams on a training day and 12 on a non-training day. And that even goes for off season. I just keep that the same all year round. So people that don't track it and aren't tracking this salt and sodium, they're going to have a tough time when it comes to gauging how much they need or whether to pull it or not to get a good response from the body. Another mistake a lot of people make is the use of diuretics without understanding the implications that it can have on your electrolyte balance, because diuretics don't just pull water from subcutaneous, it can also pull water from intramuscular. So then you see people go on stage super flat, and chances are it's a dehydration situation. Not that they haven't filled up enough, it's they've pulled water too hard. Another very common mistake is training too hard on peak week, going balls to the wall. They're getting carved up, they're feeling really good, and then all they're doing is causing major inflammation within the muscle, and then that can really create a film on stage rather than showing the sharpest package. So that's a mistake that I do see a lot as well. Another very common one, especially in first timers, is putting new foods in, or new condiments or new spices and sauces in peak week that can just really affect digestion and end up in self-sabotage. So my approach that I like to use, and the system that I use with my clients, is very data-based. For training peak week, I'll drop the volume slightly, potentially, especially legs, and just get them to maintain connection with the muscle, full range of motion, and leave 1 or 2 reps in reserve on each exercise, but still top set back off. For nutrition, carbs will just be adjusted depending on the look and the daily data that we collect in terms of flatness, fullness, dryness. Fats can be reduced or increased depending on the fullness. Some people pull the fats back to allow for more carbohydrates. Some people, the body might be on fire and is burning through those carbs too quick, so they might need to increase those fats to slow down that digestion of the carbohydrates so it actually sticks a little bit more. But I'll always keep my food sources consistent, literally buying the same meat from the same shop for the whole of prep as best that I can. Just consistency is key with everything. You don't want to risk any sabotage on peak week. So for water and salt, like I said, I will keep consistent all year round, especially on peak week. Creates predictability, and there's no real wild manipulation for linear loading, which is what I'm doing now. Now you may want to manipulate it closer to the show, just depending on the look and the person, maybe increasing the salt on the day to push a little bit more fullness into the muscle, but it's just person dependent on the look and the situation. For supplements and PEDs, leading into peak week, we have been reducing lipolytics. So my clenbuterol was at 80, that's gone from 80 to 60 to this week 40 on peak week. So we are keeping it in. We'll probably drop it out completely after this first show because fat loss is done. It's a fat loss drug and it's just not needed anymore. So my thyroid replacement, my T3 and my T4, we'll just keep them in and leave them in exactly how they are. There's no need to adjust them at all. They're just doing their job. So I have been using Anavar and Halo. Halo just got upped from 10 to 20 for this peak week, and it will probably remain at 20 leading into next week's finals. Anavar's just been at 50 milligram pre-workout, and those are just going to bring a more harder, drier look. And they're really going to help with fullness as well, as we are making cosmetic adjustments that's going to dry me out and get me nice and crispy. A big thing to consider is stress management on peak week. So trying to stay off your feet as much as possible. All my guys will have a step target. I want them to do those steps and that's it. So I want everything to be standardized. Same for myself, always checking how many steps I've done. And I think a big one for me as well is meal timings and just being predictable. I eat the same meals at the same time every day in the same order. And I find that's really good for my digestion, my food focus. I'm not waiting for a meal. I know it's coming when it comes. It just makes life a lot easier. So the show day itself, nutrition, the diet plan will be designed depending on what time we predict that I'm going to be on stage when they announce the running order. So that'll be determine how many meals we're going to have leading into show and how many carbs they will have in each meal, and fats and proteins, if any proteins. Backstage, obviously, I'll be taking a pump product, Engineered Muscles Turbo Pump. I'll probably take some Turbo Swole as well. X amount of water, X amount of salt. I have used Lucozade in the past because it's just really easy digestible carbs. And once I'm backstage, I'll obviously have my feet up, I'll be chilling, I'll be eating meals, listening to music, just keeping really relaxed and trying not to let the nerves get to you, because that can raise your cortisol, and then that's what potentially can make your body hold unnecessary water. But I'll still be going through posing rounds, just very gently pushing those carbs around a little bit. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again because I feel like it's been such a long time. My mindset for peak week is always just trust the process, don't chase perfection, and enjoy the moment. Make sure that you are present in every moment. Because I remember my first show, I can barely remember being on stage. I walked off and I was like, what the hell? And I remember I was like, I don't want to do that at my next show. But what I do find is the guys that do well are always the guys that are the calmest. Some guys backstage and super amped up and they're like, let's fucking go. They're about to do a top set. And they're the ones holding water. They're the ones that end up fucking there, posing up. You just got to be relaxed. I think it's such an overlooked skill, staying calm, keeping you cool. I think massive as well on peak week, making sure that your sleep is as good as it can be. I understand that as you get closer and closer, you will have nights where your head's racing and you're thinking about it and maybe you're getting a bit nervous or a bit excited. It's a bit like Christmas morning the next morning. But making sure that you are getting that good quality sleep and staying relaxed is very important, because you want to be waking up fresh. You don't want to be waking up tired and lethargic. But I think most of all, just enjoy the day. This is what everyone's worked so hard for, and I think it's very important that you just stay present and enjoy the moment, because it ain't gonna come around again for a long time. So, closing this video off, what is Peak Week? It is not a magic week. It is precision, data-based tracking that allows you to bring your best physique on stage. That's what it is to me. I'll show you a little photo on the screen now of the peaking tracker that me and Nathan use, and that I use with my clients as well. You can see the amount of detail that goes into these to make sure that everything is nailed and predictable. And that's how you present the best on stage. You don't want to guess anything. So if you're listening to somebody online and they're trying to overcomplicate Peak Week, it really does not need to be overcomplicated. Like, some guys are, oh, you need to have a Five Guys, you need to have vodka, you need to have this. Dude, no. If you're waking up the week before Peak Week looking pretty fucking good, let's just freshen up, put a little bit of carbs in, assess the look each day, and walk on stage. That's like a linear load. There are other approaches to take, so there's a front load and a back load, but I'm going to save them for another video. The plan after my first show, because we will have linear loaded for this first show, we'll do 2 days depletion, so bring carbs right back down again, and then we'll do a front load where we load at the front of the week. So it might be 800 gram of carbs, 700 gram of carbs, 600 gram of carbs, and then 1 day at baseline where we'll use a diuretic to really flush any subcutaneous water out, and then from there we will just assess the look meal by meal. So if you are heading into your Peak Week and you'd like some guidance or some help, please don't hesitate to drop me a message, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are to the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a good day. Peace.